right, everybody, welcome back to the Scuttle Crab Draft League. Here with you guys with Dot and Youngster Joey and SoupDude. We got a couple new faces here ready for you guys to talk to you about the mid-season breakdowns here in the action. Really excited for this. Joey, appreciate you having us on and letting us kind of, a little bit of an introduction to this whole thing. I don't want to say that we are intruding per se, but we kind of are. So thank you for letting us friendly intrude on the thing here. How are things shaking up for you right now, my good man?
Doing pretty well. Appreciate having you guys on. Appreciate you kind of taking the apparel game to the next level for compounding interest. We're talking about stonks out here rising. We got to make sure that we're bringing our best to the table as well. But I'm super excited to be able to dive in and kind of slow down, break it down team by team, look at each of the players, and rather just looking at the week by week matchups, kind of look at the 50-foot view and be able to look at some of potential awards, early season awards we can take a look at, kind of give some of our takes on what is coming up. I know we've had quite a lot of, I'll say, spicy interviews on the streams as well, so you guys can allude to some of those. And I think it'll just be really fun to be able to sit down, talk through what we're seeing from different points of view, and really give the Dragon League a lot of insight that it deserves.
Totally.
And Dot, appreciate you jumping on. What are you excited for?
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. I've been enjoying your videos each week, getting to see all the different content from everyone who's making content, and casting's been a lot of fun. A lot of these teams have already cast. I'm excited to cast some of the teams we haven't gotten to yet, and as we keep inching closer and closer to playoffs, it's getting me real excited for seeing some of these teams get to play each other in playoffs.
Dude, yeah, absolutely, bro. We got to mention right now, just like Dot said, Joey or Taish, honestly, dude, your content has been phenomenal. As someone who's new getting into this league and just trying to find my way in, it's been hugely informative for me. And Dot has referenced it to me as well, just so I can get invested into different players, know what's going on. And honestly, I've used the information on casting as well, so it's been huge, man.
Yeah. Each week, I've told SoupDude, you need to watch this video before we do our casting, so that way you're ready.
Yeah.
So
It's worked great.
Well,
yeah.
I'm glad it's
we'll be even more ready.
Absolutely. You got the work getting in ahead of time. We talked about it a little bit before we jumped on air. I'm glad you guys were able to hear me on my videos finally, to be able to get that value out of it. But no, I think it's been really fun, and I think it's something I haven't done in the past just because think about it, the same conversation with Los Ratones, right? In terms of you're kind of given that behind the curtain, behind the fourth wall type of insight in terms of draft picks, in terms of player pools, in terms of just thought processes. And maybe this is a little egotistical, but I think at the same time, a lot of the ways I think about the game and drafts is well known at this point. So if people are going to assume what I'm going to do, that's all right with me. I'm going to just put it out there and we're going to run it regardless.
Yeah. Sure, if you know what you're doing and you can do it better than them, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, true.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, people know that Faker's gonna, be fed in the mid lane. Doesn't matter. Bro's still gonna run it. Okay, so
you just compared Joey to Faker. I love it.
I was, you know what? I feel my head getting bigger and bigger. I am the Emerald Faker. I love it.
Yeah.
I think Faker's got a little bit to learn, honestly. So, he hasn't
the Dragon Draft League Faker.
All I'm going to say is Faker has never won a competitive game running Unsealed Spellbook J4 in the jungle. So, you know what?
That's true.
Has he ever won with Lulu Pop, do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think that's never been the case?
Probably, actually. Back in the day, I think Lulu Top was the thing, but, that's besides the point.
Regardless.
Not in 2025.
And the most impressive, Dot, do you think Faker's ever won with a Full Metal Galio on his team?
That's true. Wow. Never.
Well, that's something we both can say we have. But no, I'm excited. So what we'll do, gentlemen, we'll kind of dive in. We know what teams we're going to be talking about. I wanted to slow down and just bring up the standings to really just highlight that as well. Let me pull that up on screen and move myself over for a second. So through 4 weeks so far, we'll start from bottom to top. We have a three-way tie technically. I know some tiebreakers kind of throw it off, but from a series score, we have the Beaver Battalion, we have the Drizzlers, and we have the Cheesers all sitting at 1 and 3. Now, again, because the Beaver Battalion have a more advantageous game score, they technically hold the 6th spot themselves. Continuing to go up, we do have another three-way tie in series games at 2 and 2. We have the Frigs, the Frauds, and the Ewoks all at 2 and 2. But again, game score separating all of them to have their own individual placements in the standings. We have the Engineers holding steady in the 2 spot at 3 and 1 for a series score and 6 and 3 game score. And then we have the Penny Pinchers at 4 and 0 in series and 8 and 2 in games. So I think it's really played out, and I've talked about this in a couple of episodes where anybody can really take down anybody still, regardless of what this says. But it's been an exciting season so far.
Yeah, in the past seasons, I think we've had teams that around this part are already feeling like, oh man, we're too far behind. There's no way we're gonna make it to playoffs. This year, I mean, 2 wins is the difference between being second place and being last place. So any given week, no one's really guaranteed in to the playoffs, and no one's really guaranteed out yet. So I'm excited to see over the next couple of weeks as these teams fight it out to, fix all these ties.
Agreed.
I think maybe part of that could be based on what you guys said ahead of time, that there are just a lot of new players coming into this league right now. So when drafted, people are like, who's good, who's not, who's that hidden dark horse that I can get for really cheap as a great draft pick on my team? And because there has been a bit of a scramble, things are just playing out not the way that everyone expected it would in a lot of the ways. So, and I think that because of that, since there are still some newer players that can shine down the road, that means there's potential for things to shake up even more than they are now.
Agreed. And we'll kind of dive into that a little bit towards the awards and as we dive through each of the different teams. So what I want to do is we'll start it up by opening about one team at a time. And SoupDude, I'm going to let you lead the way on this one. First team is going to be the Beaver Battalion.
The Beaver Battalions. Absolutely love the Beaver with the Canadian flag. Love all of those characters there. We have the amazing players of Unanova. We have Drox, 8 times, it equals MA, and Brady. The thing that I am interested to see about the Beaver Battalion is, you mentioned before, their record might not demonstrate just how good these players are. We've seen the first week they went down, unfortunately, 1-2 to the Engineers. Then, week 2, they went down 1-2 again to the Penny Pinchers. And then, unfortunately, 1-2 again against the Ewoks. So, in the first 3 weeks, they won a game and lost 2. But 2 of the teams that they lost to were teams towards the top. The Engineers and the Penny Pinchers. This team of the Battalion, they've been hanging even with some of the top teams, just haven't been able to close it out in the very end. But, finally, in week 4, they got their first dub in a 2-0 over the Drizzlers. Now, people might be saying, well, it's the Drizzlers, right? Okay, but, in my opinion right now, I think that this team's been hanging around towards the top for a long time. They just haven't been able to shine because they've had a pretty rough schedule moving forward. This could be one of those teams that I could see having a bit of a run down the stretch because they've been hanging in for a long period of time. They just haven't been able to demonstrate all that they've got going for them.
No, I agree, and I think that's some really good analysis. So one thing that I've been watching is specifically Unanova in the top lane. So coming into this season as a captain, this was probably my most unfamiliar with the draft pool. You talked about it, a lot of new names, a lot of new faces, and I was sniped in the top lane. Now, I will tell you, I am happy to have my GOAT Tyler up there, even though we haven't seen the Lulu top locked in from him yet, but TBD.
Maybe.
But Unanova is somebody I've been following along this season, and I think has really been able to, in comfort settings, really have their feet underneath them and stand their own. And I think specifically in the top lane throughout Dragon, there's a lot of versatility and volatility from player to player, whether that be champ pool, play styles, and even just performances from a week-to-week standpoint. And I think the Beaver Battalion, if I remember correctly, is one of the teams that have seen a lot of substitutes as well, some more than others. So being able to see this team kind of despite not having the most optimal setup and practice and familiarity, be able to take games off of those top teams consistently, and now walk away with a 2-0. Their full five is coming into fruition. I think that between Unanova in the top lane, captain 8 times as well, being able to get comfortable on those engaged style setup champions, I think this is a team that, to your point, can really rise the rankings quite quickly.
100%, man. They've been showing that for a long period of time. Quick pause. Mr. Joey, sir, do you know that your camera's not on?
So luckily, I have the camera pulling from OBS.
Okay, cool.
So
All right, cool.
you guys just don't get to see me.
We don't get to see you.
I'll be honest with you. You're probably the luckiest 2 here that don't have to see me. Everybody else is stuck with that, but it's okay.
I'm gonna watch this video back and put it on mute just so I can see your face. Actually.
The whole time, yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna zoom in.
But don't. I promise you, the Blazer's on. Like I said, we're moving up in style here and compounding.
Yep.
We're moving into. We're gonna move into the loft. That's what we're talking. We're moving out from the
Your
tiny
interest
street
is
floor
definitely
apartment.
compounding.
Dude, it's getting bigger. It's rolling. It's snowballing out of control. It's crazy.
Oh man, that's what I like to hear. So what we'll do, Dot, do you have anything to talk about the Beaver Battalion, or do you want to take it away with our next team?
Yeah, well, I mean, he talked about them versus the Drizzlers, and so that's to move us on to our next team, the Drizzlers. Right into what I was going to say is the Drizzlers were a team, I think, at the beginning of the year that I had a lot of hope for. Team looked really good with Zodiac, Dira, Voodoo Mama Juju. That core I thought was going to be really good. And they started off with a 2-1 win against the Cheesers, but have not been able to, find another win after losing to the Frauds, the Frigs, and the Ewoks. To me, that team is trying to figure out that top and jungle to work with the mid, bot, and support. Dira has been putting on his carry pants and doing really well as a ADC. We just need to see how they can figure out how to mesh all together and get the wins that they need. But like we were talking about earlier, them being 1-3, they are so close. They only need 1 to 2 wins to be able to push them into that top 4. And it looks like their schedule is probably going to be a little bit difficult coming up. I think they play you guys in a couple weeks and then have a couple of difficult games after that.
I think the Engineers are still on the slate as well.
Yeah, they have the Engineers and then you guys. So the next 2 weeks is going to be a very difficult 2 weeks for them. If they can sneak a win against the Engineers or against you guys, I think that's what's going to be able to catapult them up to the top 4. But that's going to be a lot easier said than actually done.
Yeah, it's going to have to be on the back of their carries too. And this is something that, despite seeing the disadvantageous outcomes of their weekly matchups, you're still seeing both Dira and Zodiac perform in the top 5 of different statistical categories, being able to move around the map. I think this is something to where a lot is happening on the Rift for this team. Just not all the time are those carries involved in those plays. And that's something to where if the Drizzlers can slow the game down to where ensuring that Dira and Zodiac are at the play, or at least one or the other, just have your hard carry pant performances within the play, it's probably going to go optimally. You see that in their damage. You see that in their CS per minute. You don't see that on the KDA structure, just because by the time they're able to bring that gold to the table, you're kind of playing uphill, if you will. So I'm curious to see how they're able to do that.
What material do you think carry pants are made out of, in your guys' thoughts? I think, I don't know if it'd be heavy. I think it'd be heavy. Yeah, because you have to carry other people with you.
I don't want to DDoS Zodiac. But knowing the Texas vibe, I'm gonna say that the material is probably some cattle hide. That's what I'm thinking.
Cattle hide. Okay. Yeah.
I love that.
You probably got the cowboy boots on, the stirrups on the back, and it's that. You know what? That is exactly why they're slow to some of the plays, though. Think how long it takes to throw all that on, make sure it's all adjusted, tucked in.
Dude. Forever.
Yeah.
Gosh, man, it's just, you gotta hoist on those carry pants. You gotta make sure your belt buckle's adjusted properly. You gotta put the gun back in the holster and lace up the boots. There's so many steps right there, and by the time that's happened, Baron is taken. Okay, man, it's not their fault they're late to the fight. It's just how it goes. This is how it goes.
I will give some advice. Just show up without pants. Usually it goes pretty well.
I mean, you are a father, so you
Oh man, outing me like that one. You know what? I will tell you sometimes as a father, I do get a little bit of imposter syndrome, if you will. It's definitely first child. It's a little weird. Some might even call me a fraud. See what I'm doing here with this transition?
Ooh,
So the next team we're going to
okay.
talk about are the frauds themselves. This is a team for me that from top to bottom, everybody knew had the potential to be a heavy hitter in Dragon, Verja in the bot lane being able to throw haymakers, Rin in the jungle. This is somebody who previous seasons, both I believe in the LBLCS, but in HODL as well, played top lane and was somebody that could just run over games, especially with their split push play style. So to see that in the jungle was something we were waiting to see. I think the surprises for me are Grimorbid in the top lane and Metro in mid lane, and none more than Metro. This is somebody that I was not familiar with their game at all, and you see it both on the Rift and in banter, the ability to get in and get that mental edge over some folks.
Yeah.
I mean, stealing my Wukong jungle and playing it mid and probably making it look better. And it definitely threw a lot of people for a loop, and I will say,
Yeah.
this team specifically, at least through the 4 weeks that we've played so far, has definitely been the hardest team for us to prep against going into the week.
Wow.
Just because they're different champ pools, they're different play styles, and it's not that we didn't know what was coming. It was that we did, and we had to decide what we thought was okay to get let through. We'll talk about in the top lane with Grimorbid. It sounds like Grimorbid and Tyler's have had some previous matchups where they played against each other, so some familiarity there. Again, have played against Rin, kind of know that play style on top, but not necessarily in jungle, but know they like to play the Mundo, the Mordekaiser, the Zyra, just perma-clear, get that CS number. Metro's going to play to kill you. That's just how it's going to be. I would not want to be a mid laner against them. And then Verja and Laos in the bot lane. Verja loves to scale, play the Jinx, play the Senna, play the Smolder. Thank God we didn't see the Smolder. But that's what is interesting about this team, is that you know what's coming. There's no secrets, and they're still just able to put up strong performances in a lot of weeks. And I think that's what has them towards the upper half of both the power rankings and the standings so far.
Yeah, I mean, I think you laid it out extremely well there, man. Love your insight with that, and love players coming out of the woodwork in places that you just wouldn't expect. Speaking of woodwork and coming out of the woodwork, there were some three-hearted houses on Mos Eisley in Star Wars. And speaking of what, they were the Ewoks.
Whoa.
Crazy.
Oh, wow.
Goodness gracious. Insane that that's the case here. And I think it'd be a perfect time to talk about a team that is honestly kind of confusing to me. I love their roster on paper. I am a big fan of what they got going on there. The big thing for me with these Ewoks is I'm not sure which team is going to pop up here. I'll say they are the King of Spades in the top lane. You have the NX Angel in the jungle, Chase in the mid, Dryad in the bot, and his partner is Captain.
Let it rip. You almost had it. You had it.
Send it.
Captain a Comet. Okay, there. A Comet.
Just Captain. Yeah, just Captain.
Or a camped.
There, bro.
A camped.
All right, okay. But when I'm looking at these Ewoks, and honestly, it's kind of a sad thing we haven't been able to cast them a ton on broadcast. The big thing for them is they are 2-2 with a bit of a confusing statistics of how exactly that went down. And for the first place, they went 2-1 to the Penny Pinchers. They were accounted for one of the only 2 game losses that you little Penny Pinchers have over there. And then they lost 2-0 to the Engineers. The Engineers being the team that also lost to the Penny Pinchers. But if you scroll down, then they closed things out in a 2-1 fashion against the Beer Battalion and 2-1 the Frigs. So it seems to me like they're kind of a tale of 2 different teams. When are the Ewoks is the Ewoks gonna be the ones from Mos Eisley when they're going out and slaying the Sith Lords and taking down the AT-STs? Or are those the Ewoks that you hear all the time that are actually the Jawas instead, getting slain left, right, and center, don't know how to defend themselves at all? I'm not entirely sure, but I'm excited to see how their projections lead moving forward.
Yeah, this was my favorite team coming out of the draft. I think this was a team that I had really high expectations for, and I wasn't anticipating so much volatility in terms of the game score. Now, I knew within the game themselves, specifically bot and top. I know D Ryan or Dryan, not specifically sure what he prefers, but Captain of Camp, they want to kill. They want to play fast. They want to play for lane. So I knew that was coming. Same thing with King of Spades in the top lane. Similar to what we talked about with Rin, they're going to play a split push heavy style. They're going to play a, hey, I might be 0-6, but I'm still going to end the game on you type thing. And so there's going to be some high highs and some low lows. But at the same time, I could see it coming together very well for the team. And it just hasn't come to fruition yet. I think the key for this is getting a camped out onto the map and partnering with Angel to really bring some of that value to the macro play. And I think that's going to be the most important, to where if you are a King of Spades in the top lane, and maybe you're stomping your matchup or you're getting stomped, and either way, you have a random jungler and a support show up in your lane, it's kind of GG's for the opponent, right? And once you're playing something like the Mordekaiser, the Yorick, I'm trying to think, a Garen could get brought out, but once you're able to get some gold influx into them, you're just able to stomp from there. And I think Dryan's just familiarity with comp League of Legends, both in draft and from a macro style, and being on a carry to be able to play safe. Now, I don't think necessarily playing safe goes hand in hand with Tristana players. Shout out to Wild Turtle.
Yeah.
But I think that is just
Rocket jump, baby.
Absolutely. And that's just something to where putting himself in picks where he can carry but keep himself safe, knowing that the rest of his team is just going to be playing balls to the wall and wanting to go in, it makes a lot of sense as well. So just something that I think this is a team that is going to continue to have those high highs and low lows. It's just you get to take that coin flip and which team's going to show up each week.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what this mix of this middle and all these ties are. A lot of these teams, it's based on the matchups that they have. It's based on who's showing up. I know we've had a lot of people being subbed out for some of the teams. It really just depends on who's showing up that day, what matchup, what person they're playing against, who can win draft. And I think that gives us a really good parity between all the teams in the league, which is, for us, really fun. I love game threes. I would love every single series to go to 3 games, because then we get to do wood scrapes. And we get to just... It is so much more fun when it's not a 2-0 one-sided every single game, but to have teams that can beat one team and then lose to another team the next week makes the league way more fun to watch.
I agree. As somebody who's known for their kind of not the best showings in game 2s, you're welcome for the game 3s that come from that. Now, I know the last 2 weeks have not panned out that way, but they sure as heck could have. I will tell you that. And one team that also kind of brings some of that, I think, parity from a week-to-week standpoint, both in their gameplay, but this is the second team that has had a lot of substitutes so far this season. And I think we don't really have the best kind of showing from them to know exactly who they are, what to expect, and that's going to be the Frigs. Doc, could you talk to me a little bit of what you're seeing from the Frigs, what you anticipate, what's their high points, what's their low points, what should we look out for?
Yeah, that's the difficult thing with this team, is they are technically sitting at 3rd place right now, having a series score of 2-2, but having won 6 games. So they have technically one more game win than the other teams that are tied at 2-2. But they have the least amount of games played with the full team. They have their ADCs only played in a few games. Their jungles missed games. Even their support, I think, missed 1 game. So each one of their players has missed some games, which I think is making it difficult for this team to build cohesion. I've played with Full Metal before, their mid laner, as have you. And I think that he's the kind of player that builds around playing around the team, whether it be as support or as mid. He is really good at being a team player first and playing for himself second. So as this team maybe can get their whole team together to practice and be able to play a little bit more, I could see them being on the up and up, but they have to all be there.
Yeah, that's an important point. And there's been a couple picks this season, specifically the Nefiri coming out from Metal in the mid lane. That really is kind of the antithesis of what you talked about from a strategy and play style. I think it's interesting, and this is something that we don't know where this team's kind of footing is. I don't think they do either. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? If you're going through some of these different trials and different variables and you're still able to put up the performance they have so far this season, I don't think anybody saw this coming, specifically from the Frigs. I think both the Frigs and the Beaver Battalion probably were two of the lowest rated rosters coming out of the draft. And yet we just sat here and talked about both of those teams to where they still can beat any single team any given week. And opponents really don't know what's coming. Maybe that's for the best. I mean, how do you handle a Galio player pulling out a Nefiri? I don't know the answer to that.
I think they're exactly where they want to be right now. Third place is great for all the games that they've had people missing. And I think they'll just continue to get better. I mean, if you look at it, they lost their first week, won the second week, won the third week, and then lost this last week. So they've been just kind of struggling that middle part, but every single one of their games has been pretty close. They haven't had any where they just got completely dumpstered by anyone yet. So I would like to see, they're going to play some tough teams next 2 weeks. They have the Penny Pitchers and then the Engineers. So this is going to be really their challenge to see, are they a top 3 team, or is it a scheduling thing? Do they get to play against the Drizzlers and the Cheesers, and that's why they're where they're at?
Right.
What is it? And I'm excited to see that.
To your point here, Dot, there are a lot of these teams sitting in that little midsection right there. It kind of feels like, and I don't want to take away section before you go on it, Mr. Joey, sir, but it does feel like we have two top dogs right now in the Penny Pinchers and in the Engineers, and there's a couple guys in the middle, and then teams at the bottom, maybe the Cheesers and the Drizzlers. But in terms of that midsection of team right there, I personally have the most faith right now in the Beaver Battalion as being able to put themselves back into not just top 2, but make it a top 3. Because they've been actually able to take off a couple of games from these top teams. So for me, since it's been demonstrated from this team before, they might be able to make headway into it down the line. But that's what I've seen personally. There is a possibility, though, that if the Frigs are able to take a couple of games in this next couple of weeks, they can also put themselves right smack dab in that conversation.
No, that's a really good point. I think for me, a team that it's building some of their synergy, figuring out how to play together, fearless drafting is really tough, especially once you get into those game 3s that are going to be absolutely entertaining for broadcasters and viewers to watch. But I think this last week was a big example. If I look back at the composition that the Frigs put together, and I thought to myself, how do they do damage? How do they win? Yeah. And I think those are lessons that you're able to learn along the way, in terms of being able to figure out what makes the most sense, what do we need to early pick, how do we round our composition out. And I think as the time gets on, I do agree Beaver Battalion with SoupDude that the Beaver Battalion can fight their way up. I think the Frigs might be a team that, because of both the unfamiliarity with themselves, but the opponents have found some beneficial matchups early. I think they might be a team that might start slipping down the rankings. Now, I might be putting my foot in my mouth, especially with this upcoming week of matches. So before I kind of...
Watch Full Metal Galio just completely destroy you guys.
You're
it'll be an easy 2-0, guys. Don't worry about it.
All I'm going to ask, please, if the Galio gets locked in, make sure you have a Vi on your team, because the ults might get desynced. Maybe.
You're right.
Oh, goodness. I've done enough smack talk, so what we'll do, I'll dive into the Penny Pinchers here. I tried to hold them towards the end. I think for us, it's been a group of guys that have just really come together, really vibed, and really enjoyed playing the game. Transparently, we have not done a ton of practice, just from based on scheduling, different commitments and things like that. Now, we tried earlier in the season and put out I will say I think it was about 3 weeks in a row, whether it was reaching out to other captains, reaching out on Gangster, things like that, and we just weren't able to find the right scrim, well, any scrims genuinely, and didn't want to really kind of risk the lack of value in flex queue. So we're just kind of prepping for draft during the week, playing on our own, and showing up to kick ass and take some names. And
Yeah.
I'll be honest, it's probably not the most or the strongest way to stay at the top and slide into playoffs. So hopefully we kind of turn that dial up as we get closer. Sure. But at the same time, just walking through from top to bottom, I know Tyler's missed a week, but I think Tyler's been one of the steals of the draft. Again, very unfamiliar from a ranking standpoint, wasn't up near the top. Actually might have been one of the low, I think might be the lowest top laner that was ranked, and has played far from that. And that's really been a theme of the team so far. And I guess I'll switch up the order and go into Frog instead. Frog for me, Dot, don't get jealous. I know we've played together before, and you know how high I hold
I'll
you
close
up
my
there.
ears.
Yes, please, please, please. Frog has been an MVP candidate this season, and has been such a fun ADC to play with. It doesn't
Fuck
say.
it, Fuck it.
Oh man, I think I might have just lost a Penny Pincher fan, but that's okay. Frog is gonna reel
I'll
them back
remember that.
in. I just Frog is such a vibe to play with. The dude rolls up, says, "Pick me what you need. Here are a couple champions." It sounds a little familiar, doesn't it, Dot? But is able to just show up when the team needs him in however that means possible, right? Whether that be the carrying performances on Jinx or Yunara, whether that bring in the utility with a Jhin, with an Ashe, with a Varus, or if we really needed to put him on weak side duty, he can play the Sivir. He can play something with wave clear. And I think he really exemplifies the ADC role really well in terms of if we play as a team to position him well, he's going to do what he needs to do. If we don't, it might not look pretty, and we're probably going to hear about it afterwards, but that's kind of what we need, right?
Yeah.
And I think he's just done such a good job, he and Tyler, really stepping up and outperforming their draft stock that I've been super happy with this. Now, the other two folks I wanted to talk about, Clue and Chime. Clue falling to Dragon, not okay. I don't know what these Baron captains were thinking before it was happening, but this guy could die 7 times in a row and still find a way to just carry the next fight as a support, play the map with me perfectly. Like he can have so much fun playing the game, doing what he wants, whether that's on the Bard, on the Zyra, diving between tier 2 and tier 3. It doesn't matter. It may not look pretty, but he gets the job done. And I think it's super fun. We've had a great experience. Brings a lot of intuition into draft as well, and flex picks. And talking about flex picks, Chime does the same thing in mid lane. To have these two paired together to where they can, between those two, myself and Clue, just be able to pull out so many different things, whether it's the Lux, the Zyra, the Morgana, the Maokai, I could continue, the Amumu. It's just a team that has a lot in our back pocket, and I'm hoping we can get some of the practice in together, to that way we can actually pull it out. But right now we know what works best for us, and we're going to continue slamming it.
Yeah.
To your point,
Not to go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh,
Rock, paper, scissors,
okay,
live right now.
on go. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. Ha ha ha. Okay, so with that, I wanted to give to your point there. When you guys were on stream, you guys were so fun for Dot Night to cast because you guys were so freaking aggro. You guys just jumped in and killed everyone all the time, or died trying, literally, and it was awesome to watch. And a big thing that Dot asked to this credit is, hey, is there anyone that calls you back, YoungsterJoey, from that constant aggression? And you said in the interview, actually, I have to call Clue back. I have to make sure he doesn't go balls to the wall all the time. So for me, I absolutely love that. I dig the fact that there's constant aggression on the team, and it's super sick for you guys to watch. You guys might overdo it a little bit, but please don't stop. Please don't stop. It's so fun to watch.
Yeah, I am most impressed with Frog Guy. I've played against him a couple times, and I've never thought that he was a bad ADC, but I think he has taken another step and Maybe it has to do with the team that you're, supporting him in the way that you guys are, or just him himself. But he, to me, is someone that I think you should be talking about MVP, talk about, most proved biggest, surprise. I think that watching all the other ADCs play right now, I think Frog Guy has looked the best out of anyone in the Dragon League.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and I think we know what he brings to the table in terms of his stability in team fights, his ability to connect onto calls, and when something goes down, he's going to be there. And I think that's something, SoupDude, you talked about it. We die trying a lot of times, but it's not going to be just one or two people dying. It's going to be we are all going to be there. We're all going to fight to the death. We're all going to be on the same page. And I think that's something you hear, not just in League, but in a lot of just competitive gaming and even IRL sports, is sometimes the best call isn't actually the best call unless you guys are all on the same page, right? There could be a correct call and a wrong call, but as long as all five are making on the same page for that wrong call, it can turn out to be advantageous. And I think that's something we see. Something from a statistics standpoint, I'm genuinely shocked about is with our team's play style and just myself is the lack of deaths across the board. In terms of for me and for the team, if you look at from Summit or some of our statistic pages on the master sheet, you don't see a lot of us in the death leader category. I would have never guessed that. I'll be completely honest. Throw my hand up in the air as well. Throw me on a Volibear, throw me on a Maokai, throw me on a J4. I'm probably going to die quite a bit. But because we've been on such the same page that I get into a lot of close spots, and we all do, but we're able to fight our way out of it with minimizing losses and being able to just come out and get ready to throw another haymaker right afterwards. And I think that's been a lot of fun.
For sure.
And you said that Frog Guy is in the MVP conversation. Another person also in the MVP conversation would be my man Silver Spade from the Engineers, coming up here right after this. You mentioned this earlier in one of your videos, Compound Interest, Joey, that there's a potential that a support wins MVP because Silver Spade has played just that well. Man is a menace on the Bard. His Thresh has given me life. I'll tell you, that is resuscitating to my soul. It is beautiful to watch. I'm a Blitzcrank main at heart. I'm a one-trick, to be honest about it. Any kind of hook champ I get to watch, I'm in on. I'm fiending for. Which also means Silver Spade or any in the league, if you guys pick Blitz and I'm commentating, you will have my bias. You have my word right now. I will cross my
100%.
heart. Yours. Yes.
He tells me this every time. Yeah.
It's not a lot. Here's the key to my heart. Do with it what you will. But as that's being said, Silver Spade has been a beast, and honestly, the only hang-up that the Engineers have had was against the Penny Pinchers, which ended in a 2-0 for the Pinchers' favor. But if I'm looking at every other time that the Pinchers have played, they've been dominant, right? Panther in the jungle was going toe-to-toe with YoungsterJoey over here. We had Fangus in the top lane for the most part, unless he faces against the Lulu top. But beyond that, he's been really great to watch. Radisol has been doing his thing. I've seen a couple standout plays from him. The three standouts for me, though, definitely in Silver Spade, Panther, and Fangus.
Mm-hmm.
From my experience, honestly, Silver Spade has done really well at getting his bot lane partner fed. The one problem that I saw, though, is he was doing a great job at getting him fed, but Dematrix, in the ADC role, wasn't really able to translate that into too much of a lead, at least against the Penny Pinchers, and like their one small hiccup they've had. So moving forward, that could be a bit of a problem, but for the most part, you only have good things to say about the Engineers because, I mean, they're number 2 for a reason. They look like the top dog right next to those silly little crabs. So I have a lot of respect for the Engineers, and they're going to do their best to switch it so that 2 becomes a 1 next to their name.
Now, you might say silly little crab, but what I haven't shared with you yet, SoupDude, is on Summit, on the team of the season, there's a support right now at the top whose champion icon is a Blitzcrank.
What?
Their name might be Clue. So if I might have lost, a penny pincher fan today in Dot. Hopefully, I'm able to gain one here with Clue.
My people, my people.
Oh
Yo,
man.
Clue. Let me find out this investigation was just for you. Hey, baby, call me Sherlock Holmes because I'm gonna be looking for that clue. I'm gonna be snatching it up. I'm coming for you, dude. I want to cast the next game with the Blitzcrank. Come on.
Yeah, can we change our next game to be the penny pinchers?
My gosh, those bars were fire. I'm not gonna lie. I think for me, bringing it back just to the engineers, Panther is somebody, and I want to highlight from a jungle perspective, where you see the picks like a Zac, like an Amumu, like a Maokai, like the AP kind of tank engage that you give second thought to, but he's just so damn consistent with them. And I think when you have in additional picks like the Ivern, like the Briar, and we haven't even seen much of the Briar, but this is a dude who has a deep bag, and to be able to pull them out in specific situations where it makes sense. I've been super impressed with Panthers gameplay so far, specifically on the Amumu game against Stuff. The dude started out 3-0. Now, I know the game didn't go the way he wanted to, but to do that on an Amumu, like, he deserves the credit, right? And Silver Spade, I know I give a lot of shout out to the Nico performances, but in general, this is just somebody that has such a big impact both in lane and on the map. And I think that's a trend, one of the big differences, if you will, between Baron and Dragon, to where a lot of those players have in Baron have the ability to impact both lane performances and map performances. Dragon maybe not so much, but Silver Spade absolutely brings that skill set to the table to where they can win through bot lane and be the carry themselves, or set their ADC up to carry, or they can get out onto the map and win the game that way. And I think that's just something that's so rare in this league and is on full display every single week. So definitely some shout outs there.
Yeah, I think your guys' game, even though it was a 2-0, the engineers, I thought, had a lot of life in both of those games and lots of opportunities where I thought they could have maybe turned it. But, I mean, obviously you guys won, so you guys can take that to the bank, knowing going to playoffs, hey, we've already beat this team. But I think that's the team that's going to be, chomping at your heels, trying to get that get back after losing. And sometimes after losing once, it's easier to win the second time.
I guess after a long day of, engineering, they get a little hungry for some crab legs. I don't blame them. I get it.
Yep.
Yo, toss that in a pan, put some butter on it a little bit.
Put some cheese on it as we transition over to the cheesers.
Hey, shoot.
Last but not least, but might be last.
The last, but definitely least right now, the cheesers. And I knew that Joey was gonna talk about how Frog was his favorite ADC, so I came prepared. I knew that I had to switch and change my alliance to another team. So,
oh, my heart.
As of now, I am #1 Cheezers fan.
Can you do the smile with the thumbs up too?
Yeah.
Can you do it? Display the shirt.
I need a.
Wait, no, display the shirt. Yeah. Wait, back up a little bit. Yeah. There we go. There it is.
Okay.
Bear is somewhere smiling ear to ear right now.
Yeah. This is for you, Bear. No, the Cheezers are a weird team, I think. They are very hit or miss. Some games, I'm like, they figured it out. They got it all together. Other games, we have 0-10 Yasuo. And I think that comes down to, just sometimes the drafts just look weird. I don't like some of the picks they have sometimes. Sometimes I feel like they're just not all together with their picks. They're maybe going more for counter picks in lane instead of picking for the team itself. Overall, I think that has been the biggest issue I think I've seen with them. Being 1-3 though, they have a easier schedule the rest of the year. I think they play you guys in week 7, the penny pitchers. But besides that, I think the other 2 games they can win. I think there's a chance they still can turn this around, but they got to figure out how to play together as a team and kind of play around their strong points, which I think is their top, mid, and bot. Just Bear. We all know Bear's either 10-0, 0-10, but if you can figure out how to be the flip the coin the right way more, I think this team has an opportunity to win a couple more games and maybe be able to even bring it back and make the playoffs. Who Boy is fun to watch, and Just a Dog and Green League I thought did better than I expected in the bot lane in the games that we got a cast of them, and I think they're just maybe a one or two things away from being able to switch this thing around and be a team that can compete for playoffs and even beat a couple of the teams that are above them in the division.
Playoffs? You're talking about playoffs? And I think the one or two things for me that might need changes is the roster. And this is something from I know we have Green Leak out there. I'm going to throw my own leaks out there. This is one of the rosters that might be looking for some change of pace. Clearly hasn't come to the fruition. And we haven't talked a lot about trades so far. But I think that's been a surprise for me so far through this season in terms of teams that kind of know what they have at the moment, haven't been trying or haven't successfully been able to really adjust that dial and maybe even make I think when trades happen, I'm anticipating they will very soon, is they're going to be more of like a 2-for-2 swap, if you will, because swapping roles just individually is so hard, right, in terms of skill discrepancies and things like that. And I think if I'm going to be a betting man, I got my suit on. I'm going to the Scuttle Crab draft exchange right now. I'm going to say there's going to be 2 trades happening in the Dragon division. The two teams that are going to be involved are the Cheesers, and maybe not directly, but the two that will be making the trades, the Cheesers and the Drizzlers. I have to see that coming to fruition, knowing where these teams are, how the start of their season has gone, and hearing some of the behind the scenes, Now, Huddle and Scuttle have a reputation for a couple of leaks happening throughout the season and beforehand, and things come and go. It happens. But I think this season I've been the most shocked that trades have not happened, just because people have found out very quickly what works for them, what doesn't. Do their pieces fit together? And maybe it's just because the trades, the negotiations just haven't really gone the way they need to. But they are happening. They are happening.
Trades can be difficult, Yeah,
they can. There's a lot of logistics to cover and a lot of things you have to consider, dynamics of teams and play. And I would be surprised if somebody came for, what was it, Fanfear Fan as well, man. He's just a sub on the bench, but he popped off in a game too. Like, frankly, man, there's a lot of potential talent out there that could be snagged by some people.
No, that is true. I'll ask you guys a question. This is a little ad hoc spur of the moment.
Okay.
Now that I've kind of name dropped the Cheesers and the Drizzlers, you can reuse them. It might not be as original. But if you had to pick a team, I won't say a player, we won't put you on the spot like that. But you had to pick a team that you would expect a trade to happen for, who would it be? And Dot, I'll start with you.
Oh, man. This is like when the teacher asked you to do something you were not ready. I think the only team I can see is maybe either the Frigs, just because they've not been able to play together. Maybe wanting to find someone who's going to be, there together. They are sitting right now at 3rd, even without that. But I think that it's difficult when you don't have someone who's as committed maybe to a team. So maybe they can get rid of some of their players to a team that is struggling and wants to try to change something up as well, which would be, your Cheesers, Drizzlers, or Beaver Battalion. Any of those teams are, as the lower teams, maybe looking for, hey, this guy didn't fit on this topper team because of this reason or another. Maybe we can snatch them up and things clear up and they're able to play some more now. So that's where I see the best happening, is between maybe one of the 3rd or 4th place teams going down to one of the lower teams and trying to just juice things up and change things to see if the shakeup is all they need.
That's fair. All right, SoupDude. I bought you some time. Who's your pick?
So one question first. Does placement based on how they do in this season affect where they draft next season?
I'll say indirectly, yes.
Yeah.
Just because the captains for next season are more than welcome to use data and statistics and perspectives from and feedback from this season to make their determinations for next season.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's no benefit for throwing.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
No tanking for Tua out here.
There's no tanking for Tua. Yeah. No sucking for luck.
And did either of those pan out? Okay. All right. So on one hand, let me make you a deal. On one hand, you have the frauds, who frankly have lived up to their name recently. They're struggling a little bit. Things have not been going their way. It looks like they have the Orioles mascot as their profile picture and logo, and they've performed even worse than them, surprisingly. On the other hand of things, you have the Ewoks, who came into this league with high expectations and have fallen short. I believe that maybe the Ewoks believe that just a couple switches, a couple adjustments, might put them into the favor of the big dogs. So, those would be my picks.
I love that. And transparently, I know I've talked about some other teams before. The Ewoks were a team for me that coming out of the first 2 weeks, I was ready to slam the SOS red button. Trade needs to happen.
Yeah.
Now they've pulled it back, and I think that's a lot of kudos to the roster. But I was curious to see if the Ewoks would kind of pop in there. But no, I think that was a lot of good, just highlighting, and the fact that we were able to come up with 4 to 5 teams that could be interested in a trade. Dragon captains, this is a call out to you. Get those phones dialing. I'm going to butcher this. I'm going to try it, though. Maybe it's best for copyright reasons. My message is, if you don't like the way your season's going, make a call. If you don't think your team is performing up to the standards you've set, make a call. If you want to win this season, make a call. Shout out to the Wolf of Wall Street. But what we'll do is now that we've talked about some of the potential...
Sorry, well, okay.
Talking about Matthew McConaughey, I don't know if there's a better transition into some of our mid-season awards.
Oh!
So some of the different awards that we're going to be looking at today: early season MVP, surprise of the season, disappointment of the season, and our all-pro going position by position. So we've all kind of walked through these in our minds and thought about some of the answers for them. Where I want to start, let's go with surprise of the season, disappointment, MVP, or all-pro then MVP. So we will start with the surprise of the season. My vote's a little bit easy, so I'll go first. That's going to be Frog. We talked about him for MVP consideration. This is a guy that, from a strategic standpoint, I might have reached to some people in the draft, picking him a bit earlier than most, but this is somebody that I knew the intangibles he brought to the table, and he's taken the league by storm. I think he's definitely up there with most people, but I've already given him his flowers earlier in this commentary, so I'll pass it on to Dot. Who is your surprise of the season, whether it's a player or a team?
I think it's a team. I think it's the Drizzlers. And not in a good way. I think I really believed in that core of the mid and bot lane, and I thought that they would be able to make it work. So far they have not, and I think maybe I was living off the hype of the first week, and again, just some of the names and the people I know. But I hope they can turn it around. I like them as a team. I like a lot of the players in that team. But to me, I think that is the surprise, is that team is 1-3 right now.
That's fair. SoupDude, what do you got?
Yeah. For me, the surprise of this season has. I don't want to be the kind of person that would tag on to somebody else. I probably would have said Frog. So instead, I will go ahead and pop onto Silver Spade. He was only taken in the second round by the Engineers, so he was not taken immediately by them. And it's a surprise to me that a support can be up for the MVP conversation, especially when the league is so focused on stats nowadays. Like they look at that and that's how you win. So historically, supports don't have great stats. So the fact that somebody can play so well that they could be an MVP candidate is a huge surprise and a huge boon in the favor of Silver Spade.
I like that. I think that's a really good pick. And I did have both a surprise and disappointment. My disappointment was also the Drizzlers. So I won't kind of beat that horse too dead to the pulp. But I'll ask SoupDude as well. And if not, it's totally okay. Did you happen to also have a disappointment along with a surprise?
I do. And it is not, unfortunately, an individual person. It is that of a team. Mine would be the Cheezers, unfortunately. I had big hopes for them. I'm a big fan of Bear. I am a big fan of him, and I think that you guys said that he could go 10-0 or 0-10, right? So most of the time, I think that would at least land you middle ground, not where you're at now. So I'm still a believer, man. I think that you guys can pull it off. I think that Dot's jersey can be well put to use and everything, but right now I'm just not seeing it.
That's fair. And I know, Dot, your first take was a little bit kind of a downswing. Any folks potentially you'd want to give some thumbs up or kudos to? I know we talked about Silver Spade. We talked about Frog. And if it's, I know Frog's just a G.
Frog. Yeah. And it's it's a good thing for everyone else to think. First thing we think of is Frog, and I think that just shows how much better he's doing than expected, and then just how well he's played overall. Like, not only is he like, okay, we expect him to be a mid ADC and he's playing top 2, top 3. I think right now is top 1, and it's Frog. So that to me is the surprise. Is not only is he playing at that level, but to feel like there's a gap between him and maybe second place is really fun to watch.
I like that. Both as a teammate and as a fan of the league. Now, what will transition?
It probably has nothing to do with his captain. It is purely him, and that's it.
If anything, his captain is holding him back.
A little
yes. I have the training weights on him, so that way, come playoffs, we're ready to go. Now, we'll transition into our All-Pro voting. So I think, transparently, mine and Dot's ADC pick is pretty... we know where that is. Soup, are you the same?
Same. Yep.
Okay. So
we
we all have Frog as our top ADC.
I'll tell you that. It's a Frog
game. No toads here. So what we'll do is we'll keep it in the bot lane. And I'm curious. Oh, good comms. Now we're gonna keep it into the bot lane. I would also be shocked if we had different supports. So on 3 or on go, we'll all say the same one. You ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Silver
Blue.
Spade. Oh!
Voodoo Mana Mama Juju. I'm just kidding. It was Silver Spade.
Well, again, I think Silver Spade is somebody who's gotten a lot of recognition in this podcast. So, Dot, now I'm going to throw it over to you to highlight Clue.
Yeah, I think, for me, Clue has... I think if I were to take a team and start a team right now, I'd take Clue over Silver Spade. And that's why I think I would have put him over Spade right now. Just the way that him and Frog have been working together, to me, is showing just how well the bot lane works. And Spade, yes, while he can carry games by himself and is, popping off individually, I think I would rather have the guy who's working better with his ADC and making his ADC look that good.
Again, I can't complain. I think a little bit of hindsight behind that, since I did draft Clue. I think Clue was somebody that, yes, you saw the rank disparity and you're like, oh wow, I want to slam this pick. but at the same time, looking at the champion pool, looking at the play style, this is just somebody that, and think of, we haven't even dove into that. This is somebody I anticipated being on those hard engages. You saw that in the preseason write-ups and in the player tier rankings, that this guy's going to be on Leona, Nautilus, Rel, Rakan. We're picking Zyra, we're picking Lux, we're picking Bard. Like, think of the just flexibility and still bring that value. A ton of credit there for sure.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. It's like, I think that, the best supports bring the best other ADCs, and right now, I think it's usually, for me, it feels like the bot lane is so connected that if you have an ADC who's doing that well, the support usually has to be doing that well as well.
I won't leak any of the love DMs back and forth between those two. Just know that they both swiped right. That is for sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Dude, hold on.
Typical ADC support stuff.
Can we... My goodness gracious, man. Speaking of which, we haven't even... Maybe it's a separate talk. We haven't even talked about the trash talk interviews we've talked about this whole time, man.
Yeah.
It's been awesome. It's been awesome. Man, I've loved it.
I will say, listening and participating, this has probably been, and we're only halfway through, the most exciting season of either HODL or Scuttle so far. It's due to the content. It's due to the player pool. It's due to them being themselves. You hear about it in LTA or LCS, right? You don't want players who are just shell copies of themselves, come in, say the right politically correct things, and just be hey, our team, everybody's a great player. No, let's lay it out there on the line. Let's bring our emotions to the table. And we've really been seeing that both in the interviews and the content, in banter, mind the line. But in general, I think this is something that a lot of folks are coming into their own and really, for a pun on words, knowing how to poke the bear.
Yeah, specifically.
You gotta do it sometimes.
So, side railing, my grandparents have used Facebook for about 2 years now. And for the first time, now you'll see where I'm going with this.
Pause right now. Your grandparents have discovered Facebook 2 years ago?
Well, they knew Facebook existed. They just didn't have smartphones or internet to use it.
Wow.
So what they have found out this week is the poke function. And I've intentionally not mentioned it, not talked about it. I have been poked, but I will not be doing any poking back. That is for sure.
Awesome.
Oh, goodness.
Man, next they're going to get Farmville invites. And...
Farmville, Backyard Monsters. Oh.
You have to get a golden chicken, my guy?
If I get 5 friends, I'll get a golden chicken.
Shout out to Less Force. One of our favorite Facebook games were Kingdoms of Camelot. I don't know if anybody's played it, but highly recommend.
Oh, God.
Now, talking of Less Force.
Naruto game that I used to play, Naruto Wars or something, where you had like little cheapy like Naruto characters you could fight with and everything. It was sick.
Oh, man. We are going down memory lane. I'll pull us back, just like I pull Clue back. We'll pull us back. So we talked about jungle a little bit in terms of Less Force. Now what we'll do, we'll go around the table. We'll talk about our votes for All-Pro Jungler. My first vote is going to be for Panther. You guys heard me glazing a little bit earlier. This is a guy that, on paper, you would expect just to be a facilitator. And in actuality, on the Rift, in the standings, this is somebody that's elevated their team to the next level. And despite being on those facilitating type champions, have really carried. And I think that's something that was a make or break for the engineers. And to me, when it comes down to all-pro voting, when it comes down to MVP voting, yes, statistics are a heavy portion of that. But also I think to myself, if another player were on this team, will they still be in the same position? And I can truly say that with Panther, I don't think that'd be the case for the engineers. So shout out there. SoupDude, I'll throw the next one to you here.
I mean, I'm assuming Dot and I are on the same page with this one. I'm going to take a guess. Yeah. Thanks for being humble, buddy. No, you're not on the same page with me. Okay. I mean, all I got to say is I witnessed a Volibear that was a masterpiece on the screen there, man. Mr. Joey, I would probably give it to you because you have statistically performed extremely well on the team that's doing the best. You are the captain of the team. You are, it sounds like a lot of the time, an IGL game leader when it comes to that, and you can still perform. When the go button gets pressed, there's a good chance I see you at the helm of it. So, and like it's been great to see. So the fact that you balance that, it's not super fair too, because you also do give content outside of the games that adds in this too. So I would say not just for your in-game performance, but overall what you've contributed to the Scuttle Draft League, I'd give it to you.
Appreciate that. All right, Dot, rip my heart out for the second time.
If you would have asked me maybe 45 minutes ago who was number one, it probably would have been just kidding.
Oh man.
No, truthfully, I agree on Panther. I've really enjoyed the way he's been playing this year. It's very close between you and Panther, but the supportive jungle style that he's been playing has been insane. I mean, he has more assists than most of the supports this year.
Dang.
Yeah. And so I agree with you. The play style that he has fits that team so well. I think anyone else in that position may not have made that team work the way they have. I think your guys' styles are very different to each other. But if I had to pick one right now, based off of our conversations today, it's going to be Panther.
I won't. I know from maybe some of the statistics were hidden. I'll put my humbleness aside for a second. Dot, or you know what, SoupDude, I have a question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
If you had to guess who the leader of all players, and I know you haven't seen this, so not a loaded question, of all the players in Scuttle Dragon League so far to have the most assists, who would you guess?
I would probably have guessed Silver Spade.
Would it surprise you to learn that is a jungler?
Is it not Panther?
And it's not Panther. It might be somebody on the call, but we'll drop it. We'll move on to the next one.
Wait, Dot, you're leading the league in assists?
I'm leading the league in assists as a jungler. Catch my jungle Ezreal coming back.
Well, that's getting permabanned. Not letting that through the rift. Now, something else who's been getting permabanned so far this season, from a mid lane perspective, my all-pro vote is going to be for Metro. Being able to play against Metro last week, super hard to prep for. And we've talked about a lot of folks who have flexible champ pools, whether that be the Orianna, the Syndra, and Akali, which is a permaban. Can we talk about the elephant in the room? This guy is carrying, playing shit like Wukong and Renekton mid. Where else are you going to see that? That is phenomenal. Had a great performance on the Fizz last week. I think the one caveat I have to Metro is their ability to really play that facilitating control mage style and still have the carry performance. But the carry performances, when he does, are just so damn good. It scares me, and I'm a jungler. I don't want to be on the same rift as this guy. So that's where my vote's going. And you see that in the statistics as too. Leading the way in terms of kills, leading the way in terms of total gold. Just recently fell to second in terms of damage per minute. Has the accolades to back it.
Yeah, I think we both agree on this. Or all three agree on Metro. Oh, maybe not. Okay. Well, I'll go first and I'll let you have someone else to talk about. But yeah, I really agree. I mean, the fact that you took Wukong away from you to play mid is just insane. Like, not only is he taking picks away and then dominating with them and doing really well with them, but he has so many different champions that he can play. And it feels like when he gets the carry pants on, his carry pants are the biggest. So I could see him being another one of those. We talk about MVP. They turn, the rest of the season around. That's the MVP caliber player right there.
That's fair. So I hear you on that one, right? And I think there are some valid points to that. However, I partially just because I like mixing things up a little bit. I like being a bit of a contrarian in some ways. I want to put in a vote for Brady on the Beaver Battalion. The reason for this, not me, and obviously you're like, why they're 1-3? Why could that be? What's going on here? This man, despite his team statistically not performing super well, is still sitting at a top 3 spot right now statistically in the mid lane. Besides like the fact that his team is 1-3, this guy's performing and kind of carrying his team to a performance that is taking down some teams, at least for a game, despite the rest of the team not always showing up beyond that. I think this is also a prediction down the line here too, that Brady down the line could be the reason that I mentioned before the Beaver Battalion is out on top and propels themselves as a competitor here in the league. So right now, that's my call. It'd be easy to be like, oh well, the teams who are doing well, I'm gonna pick that one. I'm seeing Brady. The statistics from him are not matching up with the rest of the team, and I think it's because he's carrying.
I love that take. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Dot, I'm gonna let you lead us with our last but not least of the position rankings, our top lane. Who is your all pro?
Oh, top lane. I don't know. I feel like the top laners all bring so many different things to the table. I've not seen a lot of them play. I wish I was able to see Tyler play the week that you guys played, because I've heard good things about him and it looks like he is doing really well. But I think if I have to pick right now, it's probably going to be Fangus. And the reason why is I think that team really relies on Fangus to do well. Without Fangus, I think that they would be, I think that combo of Fangus and Panther is just really good. Of the games I've seen them play, it seems like they are able to work together really well. And, whether he's playing carries or he's having to play for the team, it seems like he just knows like what to do as a top laner for his team the best out of anyone I've seen so far.
I respect that. SoupDude, are you in alignment there?
I'm gonna forgive being solo killed by Lulu Top just this once, okay, buddy? But don't do it again. All right? All right.
No, I mean, it's anyone's getting killed by that Lulu Top. Let's be honest.
Everyone, yeah.
Everyone. Yeah.
You know what? Fang Fear. He only played once. He's my all pro. No. Vegas every other game besides that has just popped off. The Cassante is gross.
Yeah.
I think he's real good. So I'm gonna give it to you, but no more dying to Lulu Top, buddy. Okay. Yeah.
I'm just getting the Dikembe Mutombo no stuck in my head, so we'll see. So for me, I guess I'm the one who's going to break ranks here, and I kind of anticipated that. But similar how I talked about folks that bring the most value to their team, I want to go with Bjorg in the top lane for the Frigs. I think this is a player that top lane is the hardest to grade out of any position in this league. There are just so many players that have that 0-10, 10-0 mentality. We could name just 5 off the rip here and probably 6 if we really thought about it. And I think looking at where the Frigs are positioned so far coming into the season, I'm just going to call a spade, not silver spade, but this spade. I never thought the Frigs were going to perform like this. I really didn't. And to see Bjorg had the performances, and both solo lanes have done very well, but Bjorg specifically just pop off on similar champ pools to the other folks in the league. I just really thought some kudos were deserved there. And if the Frigs are going to maintain their spot and make it into the playoffs, it's going to come on his back. And that is what I'm going to be watching for.
That makes sense to me, man. Makes sense to me.
And now,
like it.
What we've all been waiting for, the most anticipated mid-season MVP of the Dragon League. Oh, goodness. Where do we start? I think folks want to hear your voices last, so I'm going to go first and get this out of the way. This guy...
Honestly, I don't think they care about you guys. So, yeah, you hang out. And
No. I think people want to hear you. So, you know what? I'm going to just get mine off the table. We're going to save the best for last. My MVP candidate is going to be Metro. I think this is somebody that in draft
Dang.
scouting on the Rift,
Dang.
in terms of statistics, has the whole package. I look at how this composition was created, and the frauds are only going to succeed on Metro's back. And that is how it, to me, from the outside, and I haven't talked to Versia, so I don't know, but that is how this team was drafted. I really do think so. I think this was similar to how I drafted the Black Widows last season in terms of I wanted to pick an early positional player. I wanted to play around them, and the rest of the team would kind of fall in line, if you will. Now, granted, our strength was the exact opposite of that, so maybe I'm just the worst captain ever. But I think this is going in favor for Versia in terms of specifically Versia as the captain knows their play style. They want to scale. They want the game to slow down. And you know what's fantastic that enables that? Having the top lane, the top side of the map going crazy, whether that's in your mid lane, your jungle, regardless. Metro pulls so much pressure. Just as a jungler facing, I was scared. And I think that there's nobody else in the league that has scared me that much in draft and on the Rift. So that's where I'm giving my vote to.
Heck yeah. I like it.
All right, I'll go give you some more time to think. As the ADC player, I think I always want ADCs to be the ones that do the best. It's more fun for me to watch them do the best, and that's why I think Frog Guy is my pick for MVP if the season ended right now.
Let's go.
He may be the best ADC that's ever played with Joey. I may have to be number 2 now. But
I don't like
all jokes aside.
I don't like these self-discrimination type things you got going on here, fellas. I don't like
all
it.
jokes aside, he has just looked on another level. I mean, he got a pentakill last week or the week before?
Both.
Both. Yeah, that's right. Both weeks he got a pentakill.
Dang.
So I mean, he's just looked on another level this year. The team plays around him so well, and I think at any game, if you can get him to late game, you guys have a chance of winning no matter what. And I think that's what a true MVP can do. You know, he doesn't have to be the most dominant in lane. Well, he can, but I know when it comes down to it, come the team fights, he is going to do the best at any EC. And I think that's what truly matters. You know, we look at like guys like Sneaky, who was never known for being good in lane, but always showed up when it mattered in team fights. And that's what I feel like is even when they lose lane, he seemed to always show up in the team fights when they needed it and produce even while being behind or being, you know, even he just outproduces any other you see in the league.
That is one hell of a comparison. I really like that. And there is a long list of YoungsterJoey ADCs that I have in high regards. I mean, yourself, Frog, Ev Dingus, Ruffian, Skibby, we have Papa Doge. I might draw the line there, but it is definitely up there.
Second.
That was no positional ranking. I'll call it a soup group, if you will.
Okay.
A soup group? Is that what you just called it?
Yes, I did. It's all getting messy in the soup group.
Hey, I know about soup groups as the soup dude, and I'll tell you what I got for you here in the MVP conversation. I'm honestly it's got to be someone on the penny pinch. They're 4-0 in my mind, right? They have been stomping teams, and honestly, the team that was below them, the Engineers, they took out 2-0. What's the big reason behind that? Who's the driver? It's between 2 names. One who's in this call, and one that Dot mentioned in Frog Guy. To the point of who I would call the MVP right now. Joey, you're a great guy. I think I'm going to give it to Frog Guy as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because, in my reasoning here, there is you're phenomenal jungler. Fantastic. I think you and Panther have put yourselves in the top 2 in that conversation, which makes sense given our all-pro list. The big thing there, I think that there's less of a gap between you and Panther than there is between Frog Guy and the rest of the league right in terms of ADCs. That Penta kills have continued to stack themselves up, and Frog Guy has put himself above the rest of the pack and elevated himself to the top. So, because of that, for me right now, I'd say it's Frog Guy looking down at the rest of the league here as the season MVP.
And what is that? What a great feeling to either be the MVP or be the guy who picked the MVP.
I was gonna. It's a win-win. And I think what I was gonna say is, Dot, you can attest to this. I think this season is different for me specifically in terms of wanting to carry a bit more, if you will. Whereas I'm much more comfortable and attest to setting my team up in that facilitator style. That is why the Maokai is in there. That is why on Elise I'll take the first 3 kills and give the rest, right? So to hear both of you give that, just shout out to Frog, kind of does that justice. So it feels really good.
Yeah, that coming from a guy who would flash to steal my kills every game he could. Like,
there's no proof. I don't know what you're talking about. Yoinks. But no, I think the last thing I want to cover with you all, and I definitely appreciate the time we put in here, is let's predict the top three teams at the end of the season. Okay, in terms of rankings, not power rankings, but in terms of the standings. So I think those are very important differences.
Okay.
In terms of standings, and you know what? Let's predict the playoffs. So for those that don't know, from a playoff standpoint, it is essentially a play-in to where the 4th seed plays against the 5th seed, and 4 teams make it into playoffs. Technically 5, but so let's go 4. The top 4 playoff teams. When all things are said and done, who are going to make it? I'll lead the way. I think the 4 for me are pretty strong in terms. Oh my gosh, I'm dying over here. I can't even get it out. But the Penny Pinchers, the Engineers, I think are going to be there for everybody. I'm going to say the Ewoks. I think the Ewoks were my preseason favorite. I think things are starting to come together for them. And I think the 4th slot, I'm going to say it, is the Drizzlers. It feels really bad. It feels really bad at the moment. But
So you're saying in week 6 when you guys lose, so you can get your guys' thing correctly, this is why.
All I'm saying is I like to stack my odds. I like to be right.
Wait. Is this because of the trade they're gonna make in your mind?
It has to do with it, I will say. I think for me, we talked about their mid and their bot lane just so much. And if a mid and bot lane can get rolling, it can take over the league. It really can. Yeah. And I think the frauds are right there, right? In terms of Metro was my MVP vote. Verja is very strong captain. But I think for me, the 2 teams that have that mid and ADC that can really just be a tier above the rest, I think the Ewoks can. But I also think that the Drizzlers have that. The Drizzlers have the best carries in the league. Now they just need to actually do that. And maybe that means giving up a wave to go actually help your team in a team fight. I would highly suggest it, but that's going to be my 4.
Don't do it. It's not a true carry mindset. Don't do it.
Don't give in. Don't do that. How dare you? How dare you? Okay. Wait, and then are we going to say the teams that make it in and then is that the idea?
Say that last part again. You cut out just a little bit.
Yeah, you cut out for a sec.
Yeah, no problem. Are we saying the teams that make it in and the team that wins it all like the whole thing?
I'll bring it back.
Yeah, we'll wait for that for end of the season.
You know, there we go. I like it.
Yeah,
it's too early.
Yeah,
too early.
It's too early to tell who's gonna win it all. You know, if the Drizzlers make it in, I mean, they might be my team to win it all. They were my team I thought to be number 1 before the season started. So.
Dang. Okay.
For me, it's obviously Penny Pinchers, Engineers.
Yeah.
Then I have Beaver Battalion and the Frauds.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Beaver Battalion's end of the season is really easy. They have Drizzlers, Cheesers, and I think the Ewoks as their last 3 teams. I think that's all games they can win. And that's what I think is going to catapult them up. And then I just really believe in the Frauds. Metro. What's his name? The Metro. I think if he just continues to play like he is, the wins will come.
Fair.
Yeah.
If you're playing that good and doing that well as a mid laner, it eventually you just have to win. I mean, we've seen it with T1 Faker, Bjergsen with TSM. Like if you're that type of a mid laner, eventually your teams will just win, and it doesn't matter.
I respect that.
Yeah, yeah, I like that. For me, I'll give you the seeds. I think in the 1 seed, it's still gonna be the penny pinchers.
My
The
guy.
2 seed, still gonna be the engineers. The 3 seed, I think, is gonna be the frauds. And then I think the teams that are gonna be battling out 4th and 5th to play into the playoffs right there are going to be your Ewoks and Beaver Battalion. And I think the Beaver Battalion are going to beat the Ewoks in to make it to playoffs.
Okay.
That's spicy. I like it.
That was where my head was, like almost exactly the same.
Really?
Yeah.
Dang. I mean, the one team that we didn't talk about right now is the 3rd seed overall of the Frigs, which is kind of interesting. So do we all just kind of feel like they're going to fall that much?
Yeah, they play both the penny pitchers and the engineers the next 2 weeks. So that to me is a difficult part for them. If they are barely winning against the teams that are the easier teams in the year, if they're going to struggle against, I think, the top 2 teams as the next 2 weeks. So if they get a win out of these next 2 weeks, then I definitely see them making it. But it's all going to come down to that last week, and Beaver Battalion, if they can, Beaver Battalion, I think will win that just because of the momentum of winning weeks 5, 6, where the other team will be the opposite.
Can I add one thing real quick, too?
Absolutely.
This might have been talked about a little bit with me and Dot, and a little bit with the thing. So, who do we think would be our biggest dark horse team to actually take the whole thing? Like, we ever 1 and 2
A
everything.
dark
Who's the
horse.
big dark horse?
I think it's the Drizzlers.
Drizzlers.
Yeah.
I'm really back and forth between the Drizzlers and the Ewoks. I'm going to say Ewoks just because I know that we talked about it. They have such a high. If they find a way to hit that consistently, I don't think anybody can match them.
Yeah, I was had similar thought processes. I was thinking they probably won't be able to hit it, and the Beaver Battalion will edge them out and everything. But if they do hit that, I mean, it's all about cohesion and team play at that point. Yeah, and that'd be a terrifying. I never want to play against them, like if I'm in another team, because either they self-destruct, we love that, or they just play out of their minds. There's nothing we can do. I don't want to take a chance in that coin flip.
That's fair. Well, I love coin flips, so we'll see about that one. But anything else before we close it out from you gentlemen? Any shout outs? I know this is kind of the shoe on a different foot from what you're used to, but Dot, I'll start with you.
Yeah, I just thank you for letting us come and do this with you. We've tried to do it a couple weeks and the schedules just haven't worked out, but I'm excited to be here with you today and do this. And I'm just grateful for, Bear and them letting me get on and cast even when, things didn't go well the first week or so as we were trying to figure things out. But I think we gotten it going now, and, we're excited to try to put on the best show we can for you guys.
Definitely appreciate it. SoupDude, any shout outs for you?
For me, big thing is, thanks for giving me a shot. Y'all didn't really know much about me at all before this, and it's been super appreciated that handed me some reins. I want to shout out Dot. Man, I don't know if he gets enough credit right now for all he's doing for the stream, frankly. He's, put in such a great overlay system. He's set up great things when it comes to replay systems. He's honestly running so much behind the scenes, so I don't need to worry about it, and I can just cast and commentate. So I want to give a shout out to Dot.
That is wholesome. And I will say, those replays, I don't know what type of budget, what type of behind-the-scenes transactions are happening, but my God, they are incredible.
We got some cool stuff coming up for next week. Don't worry.
Ooh, I'm excited.
Yeah.
But seriously, I just want to slow down and say thank you both in terms of not just jumping on to the episode and giving your takes, giving your perspectives, but one, the contributions you're putting into the league. That type of passion, that type of just success. And I know that casting is an art and a science, I would say. We know the behind the scenes, and maybe some people don't, but you highlighted SoupDude, what Dot has put in. But to see all that come to fruition, and the level of banter, the level of just for fun commentary, that is because of you guys putting folks in positions to feel comfortable, to feel like themselves. And we really appreciate that from the league standpoint. And I cannot wait as the matches really intensify and we get closer towards these playoffs, into the playoffs themselves, what the next level will be for you guys to take us in the league there. So really appreciate it. I want to thank you all for watching another episode of Compounding Interest. This is your boy, Youngster Joey, or Taish. We'll figure out if the name change is coming. It's officially on the docket. That's not a cheeser. Thumbs down. Appreciate y'all ripping off the jacket, and we will see you next week. Take care.